Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, back once again in the void, and can you believe it, the previous video took so long to render and export that my stubble is starting to come back through. This is probably the hairiest I've been in any of my videos this season, and there are apparently people out there who prefer me that way. Well, that's why I'm back in the void to ponder such things. No, actually, I'm here to continue my top 39 countdown for Eurovision 2021. Last week we saw my bottom 9, and today it's the lower mid-table positions 30 up to 21. And don't forget, I am constantly listening, well, there is a deadline to this, so I'm listening constantly until a deadline for you lovely people to share your top 39s for Eurovision this year. Please do so in the comments below. The deadline is Friday the 14th of May. Let's see now. You have to include your own country. It has to be a full list of 39. Don't include Belarus, don't include Armenia, because they're not participating. It has to be your own opinion. Don't feel compelled to have the auto-qualifiers in the top 26. They can be wherever you like. This is just me addressing some frequently asked questions that I've seen in previous years. And one final stipulation, it has to be in the comments under one of my top 39 videos of 2021. I'm not taking submissions from anywhere else, not Twitter, not Discord, not any of my other videos, just the parts of my personal countdown. And you don't have to submit your whole lists at once, just as long as your list is complete by the 14th of May, and if I have given your comment a heart, then it means that I have included your scores on the spreadsheet for the Mega Top 39. So, with all of that introductory fluff out of the way, let's get started on my lower mid-table, shall we? And by the way, just to reiterate, this is all just my opinion, okay? Okay, let's get started. So, kicking things off in 30th position this year, moving down from 22nd last year, but that's not entirely fair because it's a different artist, we have Cyprus, Elena Tsagrinou, and El Diablo. I think no one's really reacted appropriately to this song, and that goes for everyone involved in both sides of the discussion. Because on one side, you've got people really hyping it up and overrating it like it's the next coming of sliced bread banana house, which is apparently a good thing. The point is, people who like it are really hyping it up and treating it like it's solid gold, and then people on the other side of it are maybe being a bit too harsh against it, and I feel like I might be one of those people, because it does smack of the Cypriot broadcaster just copying when they copied what worked before, because 2018 they did really well with Fuego, 2019 they sent a literal replay of it, like same genre, same style, just basically as close to the same song again as they could get away with, and it didn't really work. And then last year they tried something different, saw that the fans were like, no, we want our Yas Queen! And so they've reverted back to that. But to be fair, this is more along the lines of Lady Gaga, and I do like late 2000s Lady Gaga, but the thing is, this song does kind of have this stench of sterility about it. It's not the only one, and I do think that Elena herself as an artist, you know, she's capable of more than the lack of imagination that went into this song. Case in point, I can't really pick a favourite lyric here because it's all just fluff and noise. It's either absolutely nonsensical or just completely mindless drivel, which, again, not Elena's fault. She performs it with conviction, which is not easy to do, bearing in mind, to reiterate, taco tamale, that's my mood. And then talking about rubbing sriracha on your body. Sriracha is Thai, and it's also spicy. You would not want that on your skin. If nothing else, imagine if it got in your eyes. That would be so unpleasant. Calm down, Tess. We still have 9 more songs to get through. So, next up, moving up from 38th place last year, we have our first upwards mover, I think, unless there was a previous one that I've already forgotten about. We have the Czech Republic, Benny Christo. Oh my god. I like this so much more than I liked Kemama, and I don't know why, because, let's be real, Kemama was underrated. Like, people took against it, and not necessarily for all the right reasons, but hey, that's all in the past now. It's all about Oh My God, and I like it. It's fun, and there are so many songs on my personal countdown this year, and this extends as far down as about 34th or 35th or so. There are a load of songs that would be higher up, and it's through no fault of their own that other songs kind of interfere in, but like other songs push songs like this down rather than this song falling, in my personal opinion. If that's where I'm at mentally. I'm trying to stop saying "if you know what I mean" quite so much, because I talk a lot of rubbish, and yet I also talk perfect sense, so it's kind of a given. There's a 50-50 chance you'll know what I mean. But yes, Czech Republic, immense fun, and bearing in mind what the Czech Republic has shown us in previous years, I wouldn't write this off as a qualifier just yet. Like, it may well be in the final. It may also not be, but it may well be. And it's got some Czech in it. We've not heard Czech at Eurovision since 2007. 2007, their debut entry, Maladama, also a good song, also underrated, but time and place for that conversation. Speaking of lyrics, my favourite here is, "You said you're still too mad about them things I did, but I don't know what I did," which, speaking as someone who was assigned male at birth, far be it from me to play into stereotypes, but that is such a big mood. It calls to mind a certain cutaway joke from a certain animated comedy. Men, we don't know what we did. So, yeah, it just reminds me of that in a humorous sort of way, but yeah, I can believe it coming from Benny's character within the song, and it's fun. Good for you, Czech Republic. Next up, in 28th place, moving down just by 3 places, 25th last year, 28th this year, we have Portugal, the Black Mamba, Love Is On My Side. Now, my appreciation for this song has actually grown quite a bit ever since I initially reviewed it, and, I wasn't void of appreciation of it when it was first released, or chosen, rather, because I didn't hear it until it was chosen. It's not the sort of music that I'm personally crazy about, but every time I hear it, it does linger with me just a bit, and I think, yeah, I see what Portugal saw in this when they voted for it in Festival da Canção. And I've seen comments under my review of this song from people who do like it and people who don't, and actually it's been a really wholesome discussion, which is rare, bearing in mind how passionate certain fans can be about certain things like this. So I've had pleasant experiences with this song, and I honestly thought it might end up higher up the list than 28th, but even still, it's quite high up. I enjoy it, I appreciate it. It tells a story, the Black Mamba, as a group, they went to Amsterdam, they met a red light worker there, and this is her story, but told through the medium of a guy singing a song. It works, he conveys feelings, he tells a story, and he has a unique style. Well, I say unique, a distinctive style. It reminds me of Limp Bizkit, but not in a bad way, although some people aren't a fan of his voice, but that's it. I'm accustomed to it, I think it works, but, you do you. You don't have to like it if you don't want to. My favourite line is, "I don't know why I still believe that love is on my side," for basically all the reasons that I highlighted when I reviewed this song to begin with. I like that the title of this song has implied positivity throughout, love is on my side, love is on my side, love is on my side, but then you get to the first refrain and it's like, well, I still believe it, but I don't know why I still believe it, and clever literary inversion of title, subversion of expectations, and they play with it a bit more throughout the rest of the song, but this is where they do it for the first time, and it hits hard and it hits well, and as I said, I am doing and appreciate, so yeah, Portugal, yeah. Okay, Tess, get yourself together. Next up, 27th place, down from 19th last year, and I did say this was gonna be a tricky one when I reviewed it for the first time, but Sweden, Tusse, Voices. As I said, when it comes to ranking all of Sweden's songs ever, this is towards the top of my personal list. But when it comes to ranking the songs of this year, as I thought, it kinda got lost in the shuffle, so don't be misled by the fact that Sweden was 19th for me last year and 27th for me this year. That's not me going back on what I said about how much I enjoy this song. That's just, again, there are so many other songs that sort of push it down. It's not that this song fell down, it's that other countries snuck in above it, and then there was another one going, oh, can I just squeeze past? And then another going, oh, can I just, yeah. And this one ended up falling by the wayside, as did so many other good ones. So even though it's lower down the list than Sweden was last year, that doesn't necessarily mean that I like it less than Sweden last year. Things like this are relative. But yeah, admittedly, kind of in two minds at this point, because if I switch my brain off, I'm like, yeah, this is like classic Eurovision relative to when I started watching. You know, it's reminiscent of the earlier days, 2007 through to about 2011 or 12, before things really started stamping up in quality. I'm not saying this is low quality, I'm saying this is a present-day interpretation of the sort of thing you'd get from those days. And so that, I enjoy. But then there's the more cynical part of me that's like, yeah, but it is still really artificial, and Tusa is the best part of what would otherwise be a really mediocre song. And then my emotional side is like, yeah, but it's fun. And so there's just this constant ongoing dialogue in my head. My favourite line, though, is, "Can't stop us now, forget the haters," which is good advice anyway, but also it's my favourite part of the song, kind of. It builds up to the refrain, and I like the rhythm of it, I like the beat, it introduces the crumping in an organic way, "Can't stop us now, forget the haters." It's fun, it's enjoyable, I like it, and yeah, I don't dislike Sweden this year, and I tend not to dislike Sweden. I just get a bad reputation for it because I speak up for other countries as well. But yeah, so Sweden, don't be fooled by the 27. I just bit my tongue. Don't be fooled by the 27. This isn't me hating on this song. Next up, in 26th place, we have Estonia, Ukusuviste, and The Lucky One. This is jumping up by over 10 places from 37th on my list last year. And my mother and I kind of feel the same way about this song, in that we like it, we forget about it, we come back to it, and then we realise we like it more than we thought we did. As it is, my mother has already written down her top 39, and then she heard this and thought, wow, I need to rewrite the whole thing because I keep misjudging Estonia. And I'm kind of like that as well, because just like last year, Ukusuviste, great guy, great singer, great performer, brings a song to life, but this year the song actually compliments him in so doing. And I don't like that I keep mentally leaving this one behind, because it's a good time, and it's clever. It's not just disposable pop, and I'm not throwing shade, I'm not saying anything else this year is necessarily, but I'm just saying this isn't, and it's less beige and run-of-the-mill than his song from last year. I don't mean to, as I said, I don't intend to throw shade or anything. So, yeah, enjoyable, decent time. I will enjoy this when it's on. If it's in the final, I will not begrudge him that place there. And yeah, Estonia, after all of the ups and downs of the pandemic, you actually come up smelling of roses in the end. My favourite line here is, "This time it isn't me, I might be the lucky one." Because it's clever in the context of the song's narrative, where you might assume things based on the title, but what we end up coming to is, wow, this is a really vicious breakup, it's hurt both of us, I'm in a bad place, but thinking about it, actually, you're probably worse off than I am, I'm getting more out of this breakup than you are because you're too controlling over me. Something to that effect. So again, we have a line that causes us to recontextualize the title of the song in terms of our understanding of it. And as someone who has studied literature, I can appreciate that. So yeah, I appreciate clever lyrics. Good on you, Sharon Vaughan. Didn't really expect that from someone as prolific as you, but hey, you did good. Next up on the countdown, we have 25th place, something that I think will surprise people. Moving up 2 spots from last year, 27th to 25th, we have Italy, Måneskin and Zitti e Buoni. I do like this song when it's on, and I like the sort of the back and forth in my head is, yeah, fun, organic, rocky rebellion times, it's a good, I enjoy. And then the other part of me is like, yeah, but it's just the same guitar riff over and over for 3 minutes apart from in the refrain. And that's sort of what inhibits me from going even further beyond with liking this, but I do still enjoy it when it's on. Very wordy, I love that about Italian music, and actually my mother and I are learning Italian at the moment, so I suppose I do have a little bit of, like, I hear the words and it's a language that I'm learning, haha! And actually, for that matter, the refrain of the song is relatively simple in terms of grammatical and vocabulary and construction, so my mother and I can go, we learned these words recently! So I know that's completely not the vibe they're going for with this, but hey, appreciation's appreciation, For whatever reason, I like it, and that's good enough when it comes to Eurovision. And also, it is another song where it would be higher up were it not for other countries sort of scooting in above it. Anyway, my favourite line here is the sort of the bridge towards the end, and again, it's my favourite line because of where it is in the song, for one thing, but actually I like the meaning of it as well. It's "Parla la gente purtroppo, parla non sa di che cosa parla." which means people talk, unfortunately. They talk and they don't know what they're talking about. And as someone who deals in opinions in the Eurovision fandom, I know that feeling. All japes and jesting aside, it's just, I've seen toxic comments where people just spout rubbish and hate and nonsense and yeah, I feel this lyric. There are people out there who have access to words that really aren't necessarily indicative of... You get what I'm trying to say. There are some people out there who speak a bit too loudly for the amount of actual content in what they're saying. Of course, there are other people who actually make good use of their platform, it's just there are some people out there who don't. And so I feel this lyric very much. And I have nothing further to add to that. Ha ha! Next up in 24th place, another upwards mover, this time from 32nd up to 24th, we have Ireland, Leslie Roy, Maps. She is such a lovely ambassador for her country, and I do like the energy she brings to basically everything. Now, I do admit that this is another one of the songs, similar to Estonia, where it's on, it ends, and then I forget how much I legitimately enjoy it, because I do legitimately enjoy this one. It's possibly one of the most competent entries Ireland has fielded in quite a while, because sometimes they'll just sort of send hitting the bar kind of music, and those are still good songs, but this is another thing where it seems like the delegation has actually listened to what's on the radio and thought, right, well, we'll find an artist who can put a spin on that, and that's what Leslie Roy has done. And there is sort of a bit of trading blows between this and Story of My Life, which was our song last year, in that, depending on your feelings, the strengths of one cover the weaknesses of the other, in that Maps is more mature. You could argue that Story of My Life is more memorable. It's that sort of exchange, but when all's said and done, I do think that Maps is the stronger of the two entries, but even in the realms of my own opinion, we're not really gaining anything by me comparing them like that. And my favourite lyric in this is the recurring line, "I fell twice, I'm twice as strong." I like the repetition of the word twice. I want to say that's polyptoton, and I'm going to be completely wrong about it. There is some literary term for repeating a word like that in two different contexts. It might be anaphora. I don't know. I know I learned this in high school, and I don't remember it, and for good reason. But yeah, it's a clever line. She says it a lot, and for good reason. And yeah, motivation and power and adventure, and yes, Queen of the Ireland land. Yas! Nothing more to add, your song is a fun time. Now we come back to the territory of a country that's moved down compared to last year, though that doesn't really count for anything. 23rd place, down from 12th last year, we have Iden Elena, Set Me Free, Israel. I will be the first to say that this song is egregiously underrated by the community at large, and me putting it 23rd isn't exactly helping there. Thing is, I don't really get why, because this wasn't particularly beloved in the national final, and yet it ended up winning, and people seem to still be clinging on to, no, she should have sent so-and-so song instead, and even though that's a long way in the past now, that seems to be what people are still stuck on, even though, they've taken this song, they've revamped it, and having heard the revamp, on the whole, it's kind of a lateral move, but I do think the final minute is an improvement over the version that they presented back in January, because the January version had a key change. This gets rid of that. I am relieved because it did not add anything for the song. It did it no favours. And now, instead, we have her doing sort of Ariana Grande-style vocal gymnastics. And a lot of people think that that's just showing off for the sake of it, but honestly, I think you could do a lot worse. I'm fine with it. It's entertaining, she's got sass, she's got energy, and really, at this point, the only thing I'm missing is Eurovision.tv having a translation of the Hebrew lines of the song, because I want to understand it fully, and Google Translate is not helping me with that. On the note of the lyrics, my favourite one here is, used to be a treasure, now I'm gone forever, think I'm going back in time. I like the rhythm of that part of the song, and I don't know, I've never fully clicked with completely 100% understanding the vibes of the lyrics, but that line has always stuck out to me, for no particular reason, because obviously I'm not fully up on exactly the feelings that are meant to be conveyed there in terms of what the narrative is supposed to be, but I don't know, something about, my brain latches onto those words, and I'm like, aha, that sounds like it was clever, and I don't know if it was, but it sounds like it, and, I mean, what more could you ask for? If it sounds good, realistically, does it need to do anything else? Just throwing that thought out there might actually be an answer that I'm not qualified to give. Moving on, 22nd place. Another surprise drop, down from 13th last year. We have Latvia, Cementina, The Moon is Rising. This is another one that seems to have split opinions with people. There are people out there going, yes, Queen Samantha, very much, fair play to her. And also, she was kind of queen of the memes after the cancellation of last year as well, because I seem to recall her posting a photo of her national final performance from last year with all the spray bottles and the visors and stuff, and captioned it Samantha Quarantina, and just peak humour I appreciate. And I like that this song has a lot of the same energy, but largely I preferred the energy and like the gusto and the up-tempo aspects of her song from last year, and this, I appreciated taking it in a different direction. It's just, I preferred the original direction of the previous song, so it's still good, and I'm not sure how you describe it, but the defining sound of this song, I don't know how you describe that, because when I was telling my mother about it before she heard the song for the first time, I described it as if you took the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk, if you're familiar with the folktale, but the giant is made of like polished wood, like mahogany or something, and he takes one of those, those metal fences where there's like a fence post and like a support beam across the top, but then everything under that is just like these metal cables. Like, if he took one of those metal cables and flossed his teeth with it, then that's what it would sound like, and I don't mean that as an insult. Like, it sounds like a really flowery insult on my part, but that is not my intention at all. That's the best way I could describe what that sounds like, and yeah, it gives a song an identifying flavour. My favourite line is, if you've got something to say it to my face. Because yes, Queen. I kind of had meant to tag Samantha when I uploaded my original review, just specifically because of that line, to be like, hey, I reviewed your song, I'm telling your face what I feel about your song, and then I forgot to because I am dumb and busy. But I appreciate the boldness of her going, I know that I won't be everyone's cup of tea, but I can take it if you want to tell me that to my face. I like the strength that she embodies. She's a good bean. We stan a bean. And finally, all beans aside, wrapping up this leg of the list in 21st place, up from 28th last year, we have Greece, Stefania, and Last Dance. And it's kind of like Leslie Roy again, in that this year, the song strikes me as so much more mature than her entry from last year, and as a result, it sticks with me a bit more, but that's not to say that the previous entry didn't have positive qualities. Bear with me. So, where I'm at with this song is, as I said in the initial review, very, very reminiscent of Physical by Dua Lipa. I do try to avoid name-dropping specific stuff that much in reviews, but this is more my opinion, so I can just blurt out, that's what it sounds like to me. You can literally sing the verses of Dua Lipa's Physical with the instrumental of this song, and for the most part it fits really well. But, I mean, it's a good song. So copying a good song, it's better than if you copied a bad song. So and even then, this song does have some of its own flavour. It's just that it rides very close to another song that already exists that was already popular. But still enjoyable. Stefania is still a really good performer. She can most likely slay the slayage out of this song on the night, and the delegation is promising something really impressive to look forward to. So, I am not opposed to the song, hence it being 21st on my list. It's a good time. It just seems like in the music video, if you frame the whole thing as the daydream that it's implied to be, it just implies that she has a really short attention span. Just, okay, I'm gonna cross the road, ooh, traffic light, now the world is flooded. Yeah, that seems about right. Anyway, my favourite line is, running out of time, let's use it up. That's, again, unexpectedly clever poetry. This idea of, hey, we only have a finite amount of time to work with, so fine. Knowing that it's going to run out soon anyway, let's just, instead of using it to the best possible use of it, let's get the most out of it on a personal level. It's like, this song advocates, if the world is going to end in 12 hours, go out and have fun, rather than, oh yes, I must file all of my taxes before the world ends. It's advocating for going out and partying instead of doing your taxes, bearing in mind, it's not saying don't do your taxes or your national equivalent, it's saying, if you have a finite amount of time and it's going to run out before you can do anything meaningful with it anyway, you might as well have fun. And I appreciate that sentiment, and they've summed it up so cleanly. Like, I'm sputtering trying to explain how I'm reading into it, and then the song just puts it really elegantly like that. Like, I appreciate. Good for you, Stefania. Good for you, Team Greece, and we'll see what result that translates to in a couple of weeks' time. And yes, by the way, time... Like, the pop is a very necessary part of saying that. Anyway, to recap, the lower mid-table of my top 39 for this year consists of Cyprus, the Czech Republic, Portugal, Sweden, Estonia, Italy, Ireland, Israel, Latvia, and Greece. And as ever, I don't revel in putting these songs lower than others, it's just other songs happen to... Like, this whole list is just relative. There isn't a bad song that I've talked about in this video, and I do honestly wish them the best of luck in Rotterdam. And, you know, if they change my mind, if I see their live performance and that boosts their score with me, then very well played to them. I will happily stand that. It's just... For the moment, there are other songs that have persuaded me more, but that doesn't mean that I look down on these ones. So, with that being the case, if that helps you frame your thoughts, then I'm glad to have been of help. And to remind you, feel free to share your personal top 39 in the comments below. As I said, just make sure that I have a complete and valid list from you by the 14th of May, and I'll include it in the community mega top 39 for the sake of maths and finding out who our favourite is as a collective community. I look forward to seeing that. And also check the video description. I have put links to downloadable scorecards that you can use. You can print them out, they're completely free, and yeah, you can have a time with them. In fact, you know what? If you do use those scorecards, tweet at me. I want to see how many people actually use them, because I feel like it's not many, but hey, the option is there. In the meantime, though, as I said, to the 10 acts that I've mentioned in this video, I do wish you the very best of luck, and yeah, I can't wait to see what you've got. So, yes, queens and man queens, serve and slay and all of that. Just because you're on this part of the list doesn't mean that I dislike you. Yeah!